Welcome to my video. This is the question we've been doing today from IGCSE Cambridge past year paper 0606. To write a plus 7x minus x squared in the form of a minus bracket x minus b squared, all you have to do is to expand this equation here. You expand this unknown equation in this way. The bracket x minus b squared can be written as this way, and then you just have to carry out your normal expanding method. Notice that in front of the bracket here is a negative sign, and the negative sign might affect the sign inside the bracket. So the 2 negative here will turn 2bx into a positive 2bx, and it will turn a positive b squared into negative b squared. So this is the only part that you have to watch out for when you expand this equation. And then you just have to rearrange this expanded equation in this way. So it's easier for us to compare these two different equations. So this is the equation with numerical figure. This is the one that we got after we expand the equation that is without numerical figure. So in this way, we can just easily see that a, the part that is without any x, is directly equals to a minus b squared. And 7x here will be directly equals to 2bx. And then the negative x squared here is the same. So what we have to do is to simply find the two unknown a and b, and then rewrite the equation this way. So to find a and b, you may first find b. 2b equals 7, b equals 7 over 2, and then we substitute 7 over 2, into here. So is a minus bracket 7 over 2 squared equals to a, and a equals to 81 over 4, and then you substitute a and b into here. So a is 81 over 4 minus x minus 7 over 2 squared. So that's how you get your 3 marks. So we move on to the second part of this question. Hence, state the maximum value of a plus 7x minus x squared and the value of x at which it occurs. So this is just a 2 marks question. All you have to do is to write down its y coordinate and x coordinates at the maximum point of this graph. So actually a quadratic equation, with this quadratic equation we can draw a graph, but we don't have to draw it to know its maximum value. Because we find this equation in our first part, we just have to write down that our x value, that our y value is directly equals to the value outside the brackets over here. So it's positive 81 over 4. So this is our y value, y coordinate at the maximum value, at the maximum point of this curve. And then the x coordinate, we find it by equating whatever is inside the bracket here to 0, and then the x value here will be the x coordinate at its maximum point of its curve. Then we move on to part 3. Use your answer to part 1 or otherwise solve the equation a plus 7z squared minus z to the power of 4. Okay, so we go back to part 1. So when we look at the original equation here, as we compare, we realize that the only difference here is that this new equation, they replace the unknown x with z squared. So they replace the x here with z squared, so it becomes 7z squared minus the x squared here, they actually replace with z squared. So it's actually z squared squared. So you get z to the power 4. So of course this is a 3 marks question. So to begin with, we have to let the examiner know that we realize the relationship between this new equation and the old one. So we write down that x be z squared first. So it also reminds us that in part 1 we rewrite this equation into this form, this new form. So we have to make use of this new form to find the unknown z. To make use of this new form, we simply substitute the x with z squared. So all we have to do is to replace x with z squared, equate it to 0, because this equation is equals to 0, and this is the same as this one. When we equate it to 0, we will be able to find z by moving the 81/4 to the other side. Then we square root the entire equation. We get z squared minus 7/2 equals to positive and negative 9/2. And then we write in this way. Z squared can become either -1 or 8. When we get a negative answer for any square unknown, we know this is not applicable. Just leave it, because a square root of any negative number is nothing. You cannot find the answer for this one, so we just have to leave it. But we continue over here. Over here we get a positive 8. So square root of positive 8, you get positive and negative square root of 8. So the answer for z is positive negative square root of 8. This is how you get the answer for all 3 parts of this question.